Hey folks, Lucas Welsh here, and I got a lot of bows to rehair, and I've been rehairing my bows in kind of a French tradition, which just uses a small vise to hold everything. But I also do rehairs on the road sometimes, and I got gifted this old bow rehairing jig, which it's missing a part over here. It's missing the little clamp to hold everything, but I thought, you know what, this could be a cool way to be able to do bow rehairs a little bit easier when I'm on the road, because sometimes it's not always easy to have a place to a firm table to work on. So stay tuned. That's what we're going to do next. All right. So bow rehairs. There's a lot of different ways, and like I was saying, so there's a lot of people use a jig similar to this, and it's got a little end over here for the frog to go in. Just grab a bow here. So here's your violin bow. This is the frog. This is the tip, and so this is designed here. Although it's so it's got a little screw over here. You put the tip up, and then you would just put the very little bit of pressure on over there. This all has to slide back so that the frog can be held, the stick and the frog can be held. And then that's your holder for doing your rehair work. Okay? And then this just very gently holds the tip, which I kind of like the idea of being able to hold the tip. The way that I was trained to do everything, you kind of use your leg and the knee and your workbench to do all the work on it. It's all right close and it's by hand. Sometimes it would be nice to have the tip kind of supported a little bit by a frame. And so I thought this was kind of a neat old, and I mean it is old, but it actually has I was noticing here it has a patent number. I took it apart just a little bit that you can take apart here, the slide, and on here, this part here has a patent date on it. And just see if I got a little steel wool here to just clean that up. Now that looks to me like patented July 3rd, 1894. I don't think this is that old, but regardless, we're not gonna do too much. I just kind of blew the dust off of this. I want to get any tarnish off of this piece here, which there isn't much. And the way we treat something like this, the way I treat something like this is I just clean it up. We're gonna have to do a little work because this sliding block, so the way this goes is this sliding block slides in this mortise, and that's, for different lengths of bows. Okay, so for quarter size, half size, or all the way out for full size bows, cello bows, that kind of thing. So this mechanism is okay, except that this wedge, this block here, is actually split a little bit. It's not opened right up, but this could be made a little bit nicer. So I'm going to grab a little bit of boiled linseed oil here. I'm going to grab a fresh piece of steel wool, and I'm just gonna give this thing a little bit of a wipe because this thing looks awesome. I mean, it's old, it's worn. It's hard to tell what type of wood this is. It's got some weight to it. It kind of wants to almost look like maybe a piece of maple underneath all that dirt and grime, which would be, a pretty decent choice for something like this. We're just going to go with a little bit of oil on the steel wool. Steel wool is going to pull up any dirt a little bit. There's some paint on here. Of course, there has to be some paint on anything that might have ever had to do with a piece of woodworking in history. So the oil is going to help condition things a little bit. And rejuvenate. You put enough coats of this oil on and it'll basically petrify the wood. And yeah, I've restored gun stocks and used linseed oil. And the first coat, it'll soak it in real fast. Second coat will take a little longer. Third coat might take a week. And that last coat could take a long time. Weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, depending on how much that wood will soak up. But when you're done, you got a nice finished product out of the deal. Just see on this end here if there's no maker's mark or nothing on there. Kind of looks like something that's been cobbled together a little bit. I'm gonna do this wedge here too, which has been come end grain. I'm not gonna put any on the groove in here because I want to glue a new patch of leather into there, so I want that to be able to take some glue. Definitely maple, you know, cut very nicely. Almost has some flame in it, you know, the way that. So cool. So now we're back together. Oof, da me. I bet you that's driven in there somehow. That may be difficult to get out. Nope. So that's just a carriage bolt. Just a carriage bolt that's been driven in there. And this doesn't look like it was made of anything spectacular. So we're gonna give that carriage bolt a little touch up. And this, a little touch up. Everything's sat oiled up now for a little while. It's awesome. Awesome. This is a paste wax that I put together years ago, and I've still got some. This is like beeswax, but zero. That's why you don't like tools, handles, and but it's using the truck. Just a little bit of concert rag over everything. Get a little bit on the side of everything. Again. Open up your rag, let it dry, don't leave it knotted up. Okay. So basically what we got to do here now is recreate this little wedge. So now the other side here needs to be a little bit of a vise type of an idea, so that it can grip the frog just loosely. It doesn't have to hold a lot of tension, but just so that it can loosely hold the frog. So I'm thinking that just a fixed block, like a block that's here fixed, and then one that slides just to tighten a little bit, you know, padded, cork lined, something like that. So that's the next thing I'm going to try and fab up here. I think I might have to get some maybe some wing nuts with bolts like this, carriage bolts, so that they hold, and then I don't know if I'm going to want to have like a cross slide in here. There's a little bit of glue on here, so I'm going to clean that up first, so we got a good smooth surface to work against here. It's just a shade uneven, so we're just gonna take a little bit here to flatten ourselves up a true edge. Yeah, we took a little bit of that beautiful patina off, but I mean, it's a working tool. It's not a, this isn't a showpiece here, although it's fairly pretty. I got this great big chunk of leather here. It's an elkide, and you know, I won it in a raffle actually. So I've been kind of looking for places to use this, and I've got some projects in mind, but I'm actually thinking about using it to line this jaw here, and I'm not sure that I'm super happy with the shape of this head here when I stick a bow in it. You know, there's lots of space that doesn't contact, or it just seems like kind of a bizarre angle. So I'm going to maybe work on that shape a little bit, and I think I might take a little bit more thickness off of here. It seems like there's not a lot of thread grabbing here, so yeah, you see, when I put a bow in there, I don't particularly like okay, so that's holding, but all the pressure is right out on this tip, and there's just poor design. And I know I can't account for every shape of bowhead that there's going to be, but I can definitely do a little bit better than that. That looks very generic. All right, folks, we're back here with this bow jig. And so while I was off camera, I didn't film this, but I made a little vise. And so I just took 2 pieces of square maple, and then I drilled out holes for the pins, and then I put them together, just super glued the pins, the dowels into there. What I did is I took a piece of the dowel and the drill, and I burnished the holes inside so they would be smooth and slide, and then I just put a 1/4-inch bolt, carriage bolt, so it's got the square head under this dome, and I drove it in there, and I just used a dab of super glue just to hold it from coming out. If it might come out, and in which case, when it does, if it does, I'll use an epoxy or something a little more appropriate for that. All I got left to do is attach this to here, and then, you know, I do have to put some leather or some grip something on here, so I don't know. I've got some cork here somewhere. I got some cork that I might line it with, or I've got this monstrosity of a piece of elk hide that I won in a raffle and I might just cut a couple pieces of that and use it, because while there's a ton of projects that I want to do with it, or that I would like to do with it, the reality of the situation is they're probably never going to get done because I'm just too busy with other things. So the only thing about this that I chose to do, when I use this on the vise, it's this way. I like the tip of the bow to be on my left side because I'm right-handed. It just works better. So I'm gonna fix this end over here hard to everything, to the jig, and that's gonna hold my my everything together here. And so then this will just, this will just slide, tighten up. I just kind of wanted these dowels to be on the off side of me so that I didn't have to get between those two dowels and then try and turn this. My bolt is way too long. I thought, why not? But I'll wind up cutting this bolt off a little bit so that it's not crazy like that, because it never needs to be that long. I can screw it and put it down. But I learned a trick a while ago, and it's a great little trick just to hold stuff in place, because I'm going to hold this and then I want to have a clamp on here. Well, if you put some glue on first or something, and I could clamp it, pre-drill it and do all that, but there's this little trick that I learned where you use a combination of glues, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, this one is almost empty, so I'm going to get my little glue bot. This thing is great. I have thoroughly enjoyed using this thing. It's just been awesome. So I'm going to purposely leave a space here in the middle. Not a big space, but I'm going to purposefully leave a gap in the middle. And in that gap, I'm going to run a little bit of medium super glue. What's going to happen here is that super glue is going to help hold everything in place and let the glue set. So I'm flush now. And now it's like, hey, things are in place. I learned this from a guy on Facebook. I was watching his YouTube ads. I can't remember his YouTube channel there. I can't remember what his name is right off the top of my head here. Now, it has just the slightest little bit of wiggle there, but not bad. Now I can come in with a clamp here. All my clamps are padded because I use them for instruments, right? So they're all padded. I'm just gonna run the clamp in. It's not skating around, but I'm getting a little more pressure, a little more squeeze out on some of the glue there, just fine. We're still true. I'm gonna see that it works quite well. I just wanted to, while I got this here, I can get in and just clean up a little bit more of that glue there that's squeezed out on the inside. I don't want to have this off of here just in case something. That works really nicely. I'm really quite happy with how that's sliding, especially after I burnished it. That really helped. Okay, now I'm gonna just put a couple screws in there just to really make sure that it's locked down. And it also it acts as a clamp, right? Like I don't have to sit here and wait. I could use this right away. I actually have a bow that I'm going to rehair. So thinking about using this right away. So I'm not using a custom bow. Bows and device. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a little. I'm going to just measure here what the average bow is going to be like. So we're grabbing there, say it's 10 millimeters. So if I cut a piece of this hose, that's like 7 mils, let's say. Run a little dab. There. Now we've got a little protector there. Let's just make sure that a bow still clamps into there. It will. Yeah. Perfect. So now the threads of the screw won't damage if there's any contact there. glue in there right now. I think my can of spray glue is done too, so. So, hypothetically, so we got a much nicer fit going in there. We've got a little bit of room for a bigger head now too, which is good, but it doesn't move side to side. This clamp here is fine. I may actually try and bond a little piece of leather to that or something, just so that it's not a bare piece of brass touching the tip. But we've even got, like, if I just you know, we've got a little bit of leather here that's really supporting nicely the whole tip there. This is the fragile part, right? So you know, I like this. I like having this in a bit of a mortise here. This way, if I want to, you know, kind of work on cleaning out a mortise here and the tip for the wedge, I can. But at any rate, right now, it's a working piece. She's fully functional, restored, maybe upgraded a little bit from what it would have been originally. And yeah, away we go. Cheers.